Howdy champs, my name is Mohit People. Today I'm going to talk about CSS shorthand. Now CSS shorthand is what is, the name is self-explanatory. The short way of writing your CSS makes for compact cleaner code. Let's start. Let's show you the HTML panel first. Now I'm using CodePen. It's an online editor. People, you see we have an opening div tag out here which closes out here, has some text inside, has a class of test. Also inside is a UL list, unordered list, with a class of list. Alright, and has 4 li items, or 4 items, item 1, 2, 3 and 4, and that's all that is there to the HTML. Let's look at the CSS. We have the test and the list classes ready to be filled in, and I'm going to start. Okay, let's start off with the property called background color. Now instead I'm going to use the shorthand notation. I'm just going to use background. I'm going to say background instead of saying dash color and then giving the color. I'm going to just say background, and let's say hash ffccc, right, or maybe hash ffffcc, right. Now I'm going to convert the color itself to the shorthand form, so just hash ffc, right. That's short for ffffcc. I just use 3 alphabets instead of 6, and this background, as I said, is shorthand for. We have not used the background color. Instead, we use the background shorthand property. We will come back to background a little later. All right. Let's start off with the property, which is very simple: border. Now, simply by specifying the border type is more than enough. If I simply say ridge, that's actually more than enough. You see, I'm not specified the border thickness, nor have I specified the border color. So you can go as short, as compact, as small as just specifying the border type, right? But ideally you should, if you don't specify the thickness, it's always 3px. Remember that. I can simply say 3px rich, or I can say 3px rich black. It's one and the same thing, people, right? Or maybe red, or whatever, right? How do you write it in the long form, the long winded way? You'll say border thickness so and so, border style so and so, and border color so and so, right? But we are learning the shorthand notation, and this is the way you're going to write it, right? Let's continue. Let's excuse me. Next we are going to learn how to use the font shorten property. Now instead of specifying the font style, font variant, font weight, font size, font height, or line height, I'm sorry, and the font family, I can just dump them all into one property called font, which is the shorten property. And the easiest way of actually using is to specify the compulsory part, which is the font size and the font family only. Let's look at an example. Medium, Arial. Notice the change, people. Simply by specifying the font size and the font family, which could be Palatino Linotype, or maybe Times New Roman. Times New Roman. Right. Instead of medium, I can say small, or I can say smaller, or I can say XX small, like this, or I can say simply X small. Keep noticing the change in the preview pane out here, people. Or I can say, I think I've already talked about smaller, have I? Smaller, or maybe large, or maybe larger. Right. Now, next to the font size, which can again be 12px, 14px, or 20%, 100%. I can also specify the line height, again as an optional parameter, people. Just use the forward slash and let's say 125%. It could be pixels too, so you can specify the line out. So the font size and the font family, these are compulsory unless and until you specify them. If you specify font style, font variant, font weight, they'll not work. You have to specify first the font size and the font family before you can specify font style, font variant, font weight, etc. Right? And the order. I'm going to repeat that a third time. And the order is extremely important. Just stick to the order that I'm actually about to show you. Now, first comes the font style. Let's say italic or oblique, rather than just go with the default, which is actually normal. Italic. See the font actually go italic. Next, the font variant. It could be small caps or it could be just normal, which is also the default. Let's go with the default, normal. Okay. Let's say font weight, bold. Maybe bolder, maybe light or lighter. Right, this is lighter, this is light. Or you can even we can even specify it in terms of a number. 400 is the default. All right, we can say 900 out here too, which is thicker. Or simply 100 out here. So you can specify a value between 100 and 900 in multiples of 100. Right, so that's thinner. Right, so start off with font style, then follow it up with the font variant, then with the font weight, then font size, line height, forward slash line height, and then the font families, which could be Palatino Linotype or whatever, Georgia. Whatever. Right, so this is how you use the font shorten property. Let's talk about let's work with the shorten property for the list items. We are used to writing the code this way. We may write something like list style type, let's say circle. Notice the change out here, and then we may write, this is the longhand way of writing it, people, list style position. It could be inside or outside. Outside is the default, people. Let's say outside or whatever, and then list style image. And sorry, this is gonna be none. We're not using any image. So you see, this is the default. This is the default, people. Circle. It could be just disk. Filled up circles. It could be square. Right. I'm going to write the same thing in the shorthand form. So there, it is very simple to write. Just say list style, and let's say square. And this is good enough. Actually, I'm going to remove all this. So you see list style square, simply by specifying list style square. Actually, list style square, it doesn't work. Let me just check why. Okay, spellings. Yep, that works. And I can even say outside, which is the default, and none, which is the default for the for the position in the image. Right. The moment I say inside, you can see it get indented towards the right. It shifted towards the right, the whole list. And then if you're using an image, you can specify an image out here. But simply saying square or simply saying, something like circle is enough. Righto. You see, that's more than enough. Or simply saying circle inside. Just shift inside, and that's enough too. Right? So you see, we can use the shorthand CSS notation in many ways. This tutorial is going to run into 2 or more parts. Let's see. I'm going to terminate this tutorial out here, but promise me that you'll see me in the next part too. You have a good day. Bye bye. Peace.